Good day, everyone. Welcome back to another episode. Coach Eric Orton here, and just got back from a run. Normally I take my camera with me, but I didn't today because I was planning on running a steady, fast effort and kind of just wanted to run fast and light, and really didn't have a whole lot in my mind for the next episode. But as always the case, while I'm out running, everything kind of fell into place, so I wanted to jump on and hit on a real good quick point for today. As you can see, it's the second week of March, and this is usually when things get pretty miserable around here from a running standpoint as far as weather. It was 30 degrees when I started today, big fluffy snowflakes, and so therefore every time that snowflake hit you was like a big ball of rain. So wet, drizzly, humid, damp, cloudy, no sun. So one of those days is just really hard to get out the door when it's like that before you even head out. So I had this idea of trying to make the run as miserable as possible before I headed out, because, you know, the old saying is the hard part's getting out the door, right? Once you're out there, it's not a problem, which is always the case, I found. So it was hard for me to get out today. So I said, I'm going to make it as miserable as possible. So maybe next time I've trained the brain that it may be not so miserable. So I went out in shorts, woohoo, and just a long sleeve, but wore a short sleeve top in my Camelback, and no hat, no gloves, and just tried to make it as miserable as I could to step out that door and make it as hard as possible to get out. So I got out and naturally fell into, a great pace. And per my last video on strength and weaknesses, one weakness of mine that I always work on come this time of year is I do a lot more, since the snow trails are not as good right now because we get a lot more fluctuation in temperature. So it's really the best conditions are on the road and the bike paths. So that's where I went today. And so training some of my weaknesses early season is doing long tempo runs. So I went out for a 60-minute sub-threshold run and felt amazing. And part of what I think made me feel amazing is how empowering it was for me to get out the door, and how miserable I tried to make it for myself, because it made me feel good. It made me feel empowered. And that mental acuity and powerful thought that kind of radiated through my body transformed into one of my better workouts this spring. And so my point is that a lot of times our central governor, or our brain, needs to be trained the most. And yes, physiology is important, but a lot of times the more we can train our brain, the better we'll be physiologically. And that was the case today, where my brain training translated into helping my physiological training or my weaknesses. So I had an amazing workout. And I find in talking with athletes and speaking to groups of athletes and some of the athletes I coach, that it's real important to listen to the words they use, because that dictates or it tells me what they're thinking and how they're approaching things. And I think oftentimes all of us, use the phrase "I can't" in replace of "I won't" or "I don't want to." And I think that's a key differentiation. So be aware of how that may come into play for you. Again, we try to keep ourselves safe, or we don't want to say "I won't" or "I can't," so therefore our brain will say "I can't," which makes it sound more black and white and almost makes it sound like, hey, it's our way out. So if I can't do something, hey, I'm okay then. But really what we're meaning in our mind is I won't do that, or I don't want to do that. So try that out today. Do something that makes your run as miserable as possible, and see how it makes you feel during, and more importantly after. I just set up my day. I feel great, mentally. It's like I just had a great workout, and it was all I could do to get out the door, and I wanted to do that. It wasn't even "I don't want to." I made it into a want. So see how you use the word "I can't" in maybe reference to I won't or don't want to, and turned it into I want to. So hope that helps. Again, would love to hear your comments about that, and thanks for all the views and all the interest, and keep it coming. So thanks again. Over and out. See you next time.